This month, Latinos will become California's largest racial/ethnic group. They will officially make up 39% of the country's most populous state. A record 11.2 million Latinos voted in the 2012 presidential election. The Latino electorate is expected to double within a generation, and the Pew Research Center called it an awakened giant. But still, why do many Latinos feel their demographic win does not translate into a political win? To discuss this, I'm joined by RT's Ramon Galindo in our LA studio. Ramon, hello. Hello to you. In 2008, Latinos have arguably delivered as many as 8 states and 80 electoral college votes to Barack Obama. 4 years later, they helped him keep the White House, and yet the Obama administration has deported far more people than the Bush administration, almost 2 million. The head of the National Council of La Raza, the country's oldest and largest Hispanic advocacy group, recently called President Obama the Deporter-in-Chief. Why do you think the Latino community feels neglected like that?
Yeah, that was a pretty damning statement from the NCLR about President Obama, but really it comes down to broken promises. I mean, I remember in 2008 covering the campaign of then-candidate Obama and him coming to San Diego and telling Latino leaders there at the border that he was going to make it a top priority to bring up immigration reform in the first year of his presidency. And here we are in 2014 and still nothing has gotten done. And when you look at the research, you know, the Pew Center did a poll of Hispanics, which found that more than 70% of them say that it is very important or extremely important for the president and for Congress to pass comprehensive immigration reform. Now, you know, Hispanics and Latinos in the United States are not monolithic. Obviously, there are other priorities such as the economy, health, and education, which rank high as priorities. But when it comes to this issue of immigration, it really is the issue that gets Latinos to go out and vote and to hit the streets and protest.
Ramon, administrations come and go, and as you said, they promised a comprehensive immigration reform and failed to deliver. Supposedly, both Republicans and Democrats want it. Can you explain what stops them from delivering?
Sure. Well, over the last decade, this issue of immigration has served as a very convenient political volleyball for both parties. Republicans trying to instill this image to the public that there is some sort of danger of immigrants or terrorists coming from up in the border, and Democrats trying to paint this picture that they are representative of all people, no matter what race. And really, it wasn't always as divisive as this. This really culture of fear started after 9/11, because we have to remember that President Bush was in favor of immigration reform, and even before that, Ronald Reagan got a lot of Latino backers after he granted amnesty to millions of immigrants. But coming back to present day, a lot of House Republican congressional districts are really designed to where they don't have to pander to Latino voters. And when it comes to President Obama and the Democrats, he really has to walk a fine line, because to keep those white voters, he has to still maintain a stance of being tough on the border, given the fact that you know, half of all whites, according to the research, are actually in favor of his current policy of deporting all these people.
Ramon, still so many Latinos in the country. Why do you think the Hispanic political clout lags at the local, state, and national levels?
Sure. Well, there's a variety of factors. I mean, one is still a little bit of a language issue. But when we look at the numbers, more than 50 million Latinos in the United States, 5 million of those are so-called legal immigrants. And you know, only a quarter of them have gone on to become actual citizens, so they're not eligible for citizenship. 17 million Latinos are under the age of 18, so a lot of them aren't. Well, none of them are eligible to vote. And even the young Latinos, I mean, the research shows that no matter what race or class that you come from, you really don't become as politically active until you get older in life. So it's very possible that as the Latino population starts to age, that we will see more political engagement. And some of it does have to do with the economy. The Latinos were disproportionately affected by the most recent financial crisis, and the research has also shown that Latinos that have a higher income and a higher education level will participate more in electoral politics. But as I mentioned earlier, no matter what class, Latinos have shown to be showing their political clout when it comes to street demonstrations.
Yeah, and we have to mention there is no question Latinos have made big strides. And I want to give a few numbers. Between 1996 and 2011, the number of Latinos serving in elected office rose from 3,743 to 5,850. And that figure includes 24 members of the House of Representatives and 2 U.S. senators, New Jersey's Bob Menendez, a Democrat, and Florida's Marco Rubio, a potential Republican presidential candidate. Ramon, the Latino electorate is expected to grow from 23 million to 40 million by 2030. How do you think it's going to affect policies in the U.S. moving forward? What are the big changes that one should expect, if any?
Well, yeah, I mean, not all Latino groups think alike, and, you mentioned the names of Senator Menendez and Senator Rubio. Many Latinos will tell you that they do not represent their interests. I mean, a Cuban from South Florida is not going to think the same way about politics as a Mexican or a Salvadorian here in Los Angeles. Different views on foreign policy, given the fact that Mexicans know what NAFTA has done to their country, and Central Americans have witnessed what has happened in Central America due to interventions back during the 80s. So it's tough to tell exactly what sort of effect it will have, but many of the issues that are not at the forefront of mainstream American political debate, such as how U.S. drug consumption affects Mexico, or how our foreign policy stance affects people from Cuba or Venezuela, are a lot more likely to be brought up in the future as Latinos from those countries bring up these issues in American political debate.
That was artist Ramon Galindo in our LA studio.